Shalom. Dawid here. We're going to go into the next 3 chapters in Deuteronomy for our study of how we must return to our Heavenly Father in His ways, that His blessings may come upon us, how we must wait upon Him so that our strength is renewed. But first we must go through the promises that He made and gave our fathers in the wilderness before they crossed over the Yarden. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim, to observe and to do all the commandments which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thine Elohim will establish thee on high above all the nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come on thee, overtaking thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall thy basket and store be. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Yahuwah shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, fleeing before thee 7 ways. Yahuwah shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and all thou settest thine hand unto, he shall bless thee in the land which Yahuwah thine Elohim giveth thee. Yahuwah shall establish thee an holy and a righteous people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahuwah thine Elohim, walking in his ways. All the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahuwah, and they shall be afraid of thee. And Yahuwah shall make thee plenteous in goods, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers to give thee. Yahuwah shall open unto thee his good treasure. The heaven shall give her rain unto thee, the land in his season, and bless all the work of thine hand. Thou shalt lend unto many nations, and shalt not borrow. Yahuwah shall make thee the head, and not the tail. Thou shalt be above only, and shalt not be beneath, if thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahuwah thine Elohim, which I command thee this day to observe to do them. Thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other Elohim to serve them. Too many Christians have read this. Not Christians, churchians. Too many churched people have read these scriptures out of context and tried to recite the blessings of being the head and not the tail without keeping the commandments, which proves that they are not walking in the Spirit of the Most High. The commandments were not given to us so that we could force ourselves to keep the commandments, but rather they are given to us to see by what spirit, by what ruach we are walking in. Those who take it as a demand of our Heavenly Father will not be able to keep the commandments, but those that take the commandments as a promise will be able to walk in them, because the Ruach HaKodesh within them will enable them to do it. Here are the curses. Now I want you, as my fellow tribesmen, to understand something. I want you to listen closely to the curses. I am well versed in what this damned Babylonian government is doing to our children and to our people. But I want you to listen closely to the curses here. Because the blessings now have been read, you must listen to the curses so that you may understand why our nation is still oppressed. But it shall come to pass, and this is not because Yahuwah himself personally is doing these wicked and evil things to us. It is because he has been forced to withdraw himself from his temple, and the wickedness of these nations around us is just taking over, and the evil spirits are doing it through the people that worship them. So why would we want to worship those same spirits as they? But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee, overtaking you and thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, cursed shalt thou be in the field, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Yahuwah shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. When we walk away from him, he ain't going to follow us into our sin. Yahuwah shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he has consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Yahuwah shall smite thee with consumption, with fever, and with inflammation, and with an extreme burning, with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew. They shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven that is over thine head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. Yahuwah shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. Yahuwah shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them. And thou shalt be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth. Thy carcass shall be for meat unto all the fowls of the air, unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Yahuwah will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, with the emerods, and with a scab, and with the itch, wherewith thou shalt not be healed. And I'm suffering for that because of things that I have done, and rightfully so, as chastening. May I find redemption in the end by repentance. Yahuwah shall smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. Thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. Thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, no man saving thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and shall not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant vineyards, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from thee, and thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given into thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. There shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Yahuwah shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the foot and to the top of thy head. Yahuwah shall bring thee and thy king, which thou hast set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations whither Yahuwah shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards, dressing them, but shalt neither drink the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for the olives shall cast their fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. Thou shalt come down very low. They shall lend unto thee, and thou shalt not lend to them. They shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, overtaking thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not to the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not Yahuwah thine Elohim with joyfulness, with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. When you turn to a totem, or to our ancestors, instead of Yahuwah, you are blaspheming his name. The Great Spirit will not have that, for there is only one Elohim that rules over all, and we are to be an extension of his authority in the earth. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahuwah shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. Serve only Yahuwah so that this does not happen, or continue. Stop trying to get the governments of this world to give us the rights that we already have in Messiah Yahushua. Yahuwah shall bring a nation against thee from far and from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. He shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kine, or flocks of thy sheep, until he has destroyed thee. He shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all thy land, which Yahuwah thine Elohim has given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and daughters, which Yahuwah thine Elohim gives thee, in the siege and the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you, and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So that he will not give to any of them the flesh of the children whom he shall eat, which he shall, because he hath nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband, and that of her bosom, toward her son and toward her daughter, toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in the book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahuwah El Shaddai, then Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful, thy plagues and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues and long continuance, sore sicknesses and long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Mitzrayim which thou wast afraid of. They shall cleave unto thee. Also, every sickness and every plague which was written in the book of the law is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahuwah bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of the heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim. And it shall come to pass that as Yahuwah rejoiced over thee to do thee good and multiply you, so shall Yahuwah rejoice over you to destroy you, bringing you to naught. Ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And Yahuwah shall scatter thee among all the people, from one end of the earth even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But Yahuwah shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, Would Elohim it were even. And at even thou shalt say, Would Elohim it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see, Yahuwah shall bring thee into Mitzrayim again, but with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt no more again go, and there shalt thou be sold to thine enemies, for bondman and bondwoman, but no man shall buy thee.
Let me tell you something. You tell me something like that, I will most likely be.
Deuteronomy chapter 29. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moshe to make with the children of YAH-Rosh-Al in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Moshe called unto all YAH-Rosh-Al and said unto them, Ye have seen all that Yahuwah did before your eyes in the land of Mitzrayim, unto the Pharaoh and unto his servants and unto all his land. Great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet Yahuwah has not given you an heart to perceive, eyes to see, and ears to hear, unto this day. As I have led you 40 years in the wilderness, your clothes are not waxed old upon you. Your shoes are not waxen old upon your foot. Yet ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drunken wine or strong drink, that ye may know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And when ye come into this place, Sihon king of Heshbon and Og king of Bashan came out against us to battle, and we smote them. We took their land, gave it for an inheritance to the Reubenites, and unto the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. Keep therefore the words of this covenant, do them, and ye shall prosper in all that ye do. All are present. Ye stand this day, all of you, before Yahuwah your Elohim, your captains, your tribes, your elders, your officers, with all the men of YAH-Rosh-Al, your little ones, your wives, and your strangers that is in your camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the hewer and the drawer of water, that thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thine Elohim, and into his oath which Yahuwah thine Elohim maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee a day for a people, to establish you thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee Elohim, as he has said unto thee, and as he has sworn unto thy fathers Abraham, to Yitzchak, unto Yaakov, or YAH-Rosh-Al. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, how we came through the nations which ye passed through. Ye have seen their abominations, their idols of wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman, or father or tribe, whose heart turns away this day from Yahuwah our Elohim, to go and serve the Elohim of the nations. Lest there should among you be a root that beareth gall and wormwood, and it come to pass, when he hears the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahuwah will not spare him. But then the anger of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him. Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under heaven. Yahuwah shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of YAH-Rosh-Al, according to all that the curses of the covenant that have been written in this book of the law, so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the strangers shall come from far land, shall say, when they see the plagues of this land and the sickness which Yahuwah has laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt burning, that it is not sown nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboam, which Yahuwah overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, Wherefore has Yahuwah done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of his great anger? Then men shall say, Because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Mitzrayim. For they went and served other Elohim, worshipping them, Elohim that they knew not, whom he had not given unto them. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against that land, to bring it upon it the curses that are written in this book. Yahuwah rooted them out of their land in anger, and in wrath and great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong to Yahuwah our Elohim, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and our children forever, and that we may do all the words of his law. Now, here's the interesting thing. The land of promise, wherein the state of Israel now is in rebellion. They shall burn, and the righteous scattered from it until he bring us back. And then from there shall all nations be gathered for the feast days, after he has destroyed the wicked people from off the land. and then the earth shall begin to be restored as a whole. Sorry about the darkness. I don't know what this thing's trying to do, but when I go down to a certain angle, maybe it has to do with the brightness of the sky, and I just looking down, it's just a shadow. But we need to understand right now, we need to understand that we must not adopt other nations' forms of government. For he established us in tribes and in clans and in families to be raised up according to his purpose. All other forms of government are idolatry, worshiping the works of men's hands and laws made by men. So we're going to move on to chapter 30 of Deuteronomy. And it shall come to pass when these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have placed before thee, that thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahuwah thine Elohim has driven thee. And shall return unto Yahuwah thine Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahuwah thine Elohim will turn thy captivity, having compassion upon thee, and turn and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahuwah thine Elohim has scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahuwah thine Elohim gather thee, and from thence will I fetch thee. Yahuwah thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he shall do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. Yahuwah thy Elohim will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahuwah thine Elohim with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and with all that thou mayest live. Yahuwah thine Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim with all the commandments which he have commanded thee this day. Yahuwah thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahuwah will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thine Elohim, to keep his commandments, his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto Yahuwah thine Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul. For this commandment which I command thee this day is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in the heaven that thou shouldest say, who shall go into heaven to bring it down unto us, that we may do it, hear and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us to bring it to us, that we may hear and do it? But the word is very nigh unto thee this day, even in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. See, I have placed before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love Yahuwah thine Elohim with all, and walk in all his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And Yahuwah thine Elohim shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. But if in thine heart thou turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other Elohim and serve him, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Yarden to possess it. I shall call heaven and earth to record this day. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have placed before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, both thou and thy seed, that they may live. That thou mayest love Yahuwah thine Elohim, that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, to give them. Now, here we go. I'm going to the New Testament now. The book of John. And that'll be part 3. Until I return, shalom.